Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Let's talk books with Shannon. I am Shannon, and today I wanted to do a video on 25 books that I want to read in 2025. Now, this does not include new releases that are coming out this year, which of course I will read. Of course, I'm going to read, Emily Henry's new book and Abby Jimenez's new book and Sarah Adams and Liz Tom Ford, etc., etc. But these are books that are currently on my shelf right now that I want to make sure I get to and cross them off the list and get them off of my TBR. I typically read over 100 books a year, so this is just 25 of them. But I tried to make sure that half of them were not romance because I gravitate to romance, and I want to make sure I get in my thrillers and my nonfiction and my historical fiction books. So I put them on the list. I'm just more likely to read these books when they're written down as my 25 books that I want to get to. So we'll jump right in. Before we get started, please hit subscribe. Please hit like. Also, please leave me comments on any of these books that I talk about. Let me know if you read them, if you like them, which ones were your favorites. And I might rearrange my order a little bit because if you recommend it to me, I'm definitely going to trust you and want to read it sooner. Okay. So the first book that I have on my list, it's been on my shelf for quite a while. Last year I read Riley Sager's The House Across the Lake and really, really enjoyed it. So I picked up another one of his early in the year. It's been on my shelf almost a year now. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. So that is a thriller that I'd like to get to. There was a murder in the Hope family, and 17-year-old Lenora was assumed to have done the killing. And after the killings, she's never spoke publicly about that night. And nor does she set foot outside. So later on in life, years later, she gets a nurse's aide or a home health aide, and ends up wanting to tell her the whole story. So that one looks really good to me, and I really like Riley Sager's writing. So hopefully we'll get that one in. Okay, the next book that I would like to get to is Taylor Jenkins' Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six. I saw the television series and absolutely loved it. And I saw the television series before I was even a Taylor Jenkins Reid fan. I have since read 4 or 5 of her books and loved them. I put this one off because I'd already seen the series and I know what happens, but I just love her writing. So now I'm definitely going to get to this one. And if this one follows a band, and I think it's kind of loosely based on Fleetwood Mac. So I'm excited about that one. Okay, The Book Thief by Marcus Suzak. This one has been on my shelf longer than any other book, I believe. It's been on my shelf at least a couple years. So it's time. I don't know why I've been intimidated by this book. I think that everyone who's read it has loved it. So it's going to be good, but it's probably going to be an emotional read as well. And so I'm going to finally get to that one this year. And this one follows Liesl, who finds her life changed when she picks up a single object in the snow, the Gravedigger's Handbook, left there by accident. And so begins her book thievery. And soon she's stealing books from Nazi book burnings and the mayor's wife's library and wherever there are books to be found. So definitely going to be emotional read. It takes place in 1939. So I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, another historical fiction that I'm looking forward to is Kristen Hannah's The Nightingale. I've never read Kristen Hannah, and I want to get at least a couple of her books in this year. Again, they're a little intimidating because I know they're going to be emotional. I know they're going to tear me apart. And it all takes place during German-occupied, war-torn France. So definitely another emotional read, but I have heard nothing but great things about this book. Okay. The other book I want to read that looks great by Kristen Hannah is The Women. And this one takes place during the Vietnam War. And it follows nurses who served in the war, nurses who sacrificed a lot during that time frame. So I know it's going to be an emotional read, but I'm looking forward to that one as well. Okay. No Exit by Taylor Adams. I read The Last Word by Taylor Adams last year and loved it. So I picked up this one to read this year and continue my journey with him. This one follows, Darby. And Darby's on her way to Utah and there's a blizzard. And so she stops and she ends up discovering a parked car with a little girl in an animal crate. So that one looks thrilling, and I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, I have one more to read in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder, so I definitely want to finish off that series. So I have As Good as Dead to read, so that one's definitely going to get read. And we'll follow Pip in this last book and see how that story ends. I got, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five Mariana Zapata books for Christmas that I'm very eager to read. Last year, I read one Mariana Zapata book. I read All Roads Lead Here and absolutely loved it. Very slow burn, which from what I hear, all of her books are. So I really wanted to kind of do a deep dive into her books this year. So I have, and I received for Christmas, all of these. I have Luna and the Lie by Mariana Zapata. Please comment below and tell me if you've read these, which ones were your favorite. I have Culte by Mariana Zapata. I have Under Lock by Mariana Zapata. I have Hands Down. And I have From Lukov with Love, which I know is very beloved by many. So let me know your favorite Mariana Zapata book, and I will try to read that one first. Okay. Those are all in there. Okay. So I have The House of the Cerulean Sea. This one just looks fun to me. TJ Klune is the author. I have not read a TJ Klune book, so this will be my first. This one follows Linus, who is a by-the-book caseworker, and he gets summoned to upper management and given a curious and highly classified assignment. Travel to an orphanage on a distant island and determine whether 6 dangerous magical children are so dangerous, in fact, that they are likely to bring about the end of days. I think this one sounds very whimsical and very fun. This one's been on my shelf a while. V.E. Schwab, The Invisible Life of Addie LeBrew. I have heard wonderful things about this book, although some say it's a little slow at parts, but that it's a really, really good book. So this one is going to get read this year, for sure. I don't know. Tell me if you've read it. Let me know. All right, looks good, though. And I know it's had rave reviews. Okay, Hello Beautiful by Ann Napolitano. I haven't heard a lot about this book, but I just love the cover. It is stunning. And I think that one's gorgeous. Okay, this one follows William, who grew up in a house silenced by tragedy. And in college, his freshman year, he meets Julia, and her family is delightful. She has 3 sisters that she is very close with, and he experiences a newfound contentment. Their house is always full of love and chaos. And then William's past comes to surface, and things start to change. So that one looks good. All right, 2 more books that I'm excited to get to. I also got for Christmas. I really like this author. I think I read 3 of her books this past year, Renee Rosen. I got Dollface. So this is going to follow the story of a flapper during the Roaring '20s. And I really love Renee Rosen's historical fiction. She does a lot of research. And so it really feels like you are placed in that environment, in that time frame. So I'm looking forward to that one. Plus, I love the idea of the Roaring '20s. And Windy City Blues, also by Renee Rosen. And this one also, let's see, music in Mississippi Delta, and a woman who goes to work for a record company, and she befriends performers like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Chuck Berry, and Ed James. So that one looks really, really good too. Okay, got a few more. A couple of emotional reads that I think are going to be emotional reads, at least from what I hear from everyone. Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. This has been on my shelf for quite a while. I'd like to get this one read this year. Don't really know much about it, but I'm looking forward to it because I've heard good things. And the other one that I've heard good things about, looks like it's also a football romance, and I think is also pretty emotional, is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. So let me know if you've read either of those 2. I don't know a lot about either one of those books, but I just know that they have been beloved and gotten high ratings from a lot of people. 2 more, and this is the last 2 I have are fantasy books, Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. I also got these for Christmas from my nephew. And by Mary E. Pearson. And I just heard this is a really good duology, a fantasy duology. And if you watched any of my videos last year, you know that I'm kind of new to fantasy. I just started fantasy this last year. I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I did get through that one, and I am in the middle of the Akatar series, which I plan on finishing also. I just don't own all the books yet, so those are not on this list. This one, duology is good for me on fantasy. Instead of 4 or 5 or 6 books in this series, I think that I thought a duology sounded good, and this has gotten some good ratings. So let me know if you've read that. What I forgot to mention is the 4 books in the King of Sen series. So I've never read Anna Huang, and I know she did I think she did the Twisted series. I have those on my shelf also, but this one appeals to me a little bit more. So I plan on, and this is the wrong order. The first one I think is King of Wrath. Number 2 is King of Pride. Number 3 is King of Greed. And number 4 is King of Sloth. And that is 25 books. So that concludes so I'm definitely going to get through that series. I need to get started on some, of these books in the first couple of months so that I don't have them all to do at the end. So thank you for listening, friends. Remember to hit like, hit subscribe, leave me comments on the books that you've read that you liked, or books maybe that I mentioned that you're looking forward to reading also. And stay healthy. And until next time, take care of each other. Happy reading.